At a big family dinner, my relatives walked out of a fancy Chicago restaurant, left me sitting there with my two kids, and stuck me with a $360 bill for food I never even saw. I didn't scream. I didn't beg. I documented. A week later, my story was all over local media. My family's jobs were on the line, and they were begging me to stop embarrassing them. They invited me to a family gathering. I showed up with my kids, actually in a good mood for once. We hadn't all been in the same place in forever. We walked into Romano's, one of those Italian places downtown where the waiters carry wine that costs more than my car payment. Dark wood, low lights, starched shirts. The kind of place I usually walk past, not into. Parking in downtown Chicago is its own circle of hell. I'd already spent 15 minutes circling, finally gave up, and paid for a spot in a side street. By the time we reached the restaurant, my comfortable heels felt like a design flaw. The hostess looked like she'd stepped out of a magazine. "Good evening. Welcome to Romano's. Do you have a reservation?" "Yes," I said. "Under Diane Harper." My mom's name. She was supposedly the one who organized everything, so I used it. The hostess checked her tablet, smiled, and said, "Right this way." She led us all the way to the back, to a big table in the corner, clearly set for a large party. White tablecloth, multiple glasses at each place setting, cloth napkins folded into little swans, 15 seats, and that's where it started. We came up to the table and my whole family was already there, or rather, had been there, because the moment they saw me, they all stood up. Not just stood, grabbed coats, bags, gathered their stuff like there was a fire drill, and they were smirking. "My brother Mike saw me," elbowed Dylan. They both grinned like they'd just remembered a private joke the rest of us were too dumb to get. My mom, Diane, moved first. She rushed over, smile stretched tight like it had been stapled on. "Nicole, you made it. Great. Just great." "Mom, what's going on?" I asked. "Why is everyone leaving? We just got here." She latched onto my arm with surprising strength and steered me toward the head of the table. "Oh, honey, just sit down. Everything's fine. Something came up, but everyone will be right back. Sit here with the kids." I tried to look around her. Jenna, my sister, was putting on her coat, very clearly saw me, and just turned away. Started talking to our cousin Allison like they were at a cocktail party. They both kept glancing at me and then pretending they weren't. "Mom, seriously," I pushed. "What is happening? Did something happen to Dad? Is someone sick?" "It's all fine," she said quickly, practically shoving me into the chair at the head of the table. "Just sit. Order the kids something to drink. Everyone will be back soon, I promise." Mia tugged my sleeve. "Mom, where is everybody going?" I watched my whole family file past us in a little procession, heading for the door. My dad, George, gave me a half wave. Not really a goodbye. More like, "Yes, I do see that you exist." My brothers didn't look at me at all. "I don't know, baby," I told Mia, though my stomach was already turning. Mom patted my shoulder. "Just stay put, okay? I need to check something. Don't go anywhere." And then she was gone, just like the rest of them. So there I was, sitting at a huge table in a fancy restaurant with Mia and Owen. 15 place settings, 3 people. Through the big windows at the front, I could see my family clumping up on the sidewalk, talking, laughing. Every now and then someone would glance back inside. I swear I could see them laughing at me. A waiter came over. Early 20s, that bright customer service cheerfulness glued onto his face. "Good evening. Can I get you something to drink?" I looked at my kids, who were staring out the window, confused. "Could you give us a few minutes? We're waiting for the rest of our party." "Of course," he said, but he hesitated. "Sorry, ma'am. Are you sure they're coming back? I just saw a big group leave a few minutes ago." My heart dropped. "They'll be back," I said. I didn't believe myself. 15 minutes went by, then 20. The cluster of Harpers outside broke apart. People drifted away in different directions. No sign of my mother. Mia started fidgeting, coloring the kids' menu. Owen kept asking when everyone was coming back. I kept feeding him excuses because I genuinely had no idea what this was. Then the same waiter came back. This time he looked uncomfortable. Really uncomfortable. He was holding a leather check presenter. "I'm really sorry about this," he said quietly, glancing around so the surrounding tables wouldn't hear. "I hate to bother you, but the older woman who was sitting here earlier, gray hair, glasses, your mother?" "Yes," I said. "She paid for her group's check and left, but asked me to bring this to you." He set the folder down in front of me. My hands were shaking when I opened it. Inside was a bill, not a paid receipt, a live check. $360 and change. I stared at the total. My brain refused to compute. "Is this some kind of mistake?" I asked. The waiter winced. "She said you'd be covering your portion of the table," he said. "They ordered quite a bit. Appetizers, mains, desserts, several bottles of wine." That's when the puzzle pieces snapped together. The smirks as they stood up. No one meeting my eyes. My mom forcing me to sit and stay put. They had planned this. My own family had planned to stick me with the bill. I dug my phone out with trembling hands. Mom, straight to voicemail. Dad, voicemail. Mike, Dylan, Aunt Linda. Nothing. Finally, Jenna picked up. "Hey, Nick," she said, fake surprised. I could hear voices, laughter, clinking glasses in the background. "How was dinner?" "Jenna, what is going on?" I asked. No sugarcoating left. "Where is everybody? Why am I sitting here with a check for $360? She burst out laughing. Not an oops misunderstanding laugh. An ugly, full-body laugh. "Thanks for the treat, sis," she choked out. "By the way, that whole thing, totally my idea." The noise behind her got louder. Somebody howled. "We figured it was time you contributed something to the family for once," she went on. "Instead of always hanging off everyone's neck." More laughter. I could make out my brothers' voices. Maybe my parents'. Aunt Linda's. "You can't seriously be doing this," I said, even though clearly they were. "Oh, come on," Jenna said. "Don't be so dramatic. Dinner was amazing, by the way. The Alaskan king crab? Incredible. And Mom ordered that Chianti you're always drooling over on the wine list but can't justify buying." Someone in the background, sounded like Mike, yelled, "Tell her the desserts were awesome too!" I hung up. I sat there in that very nice chair at that very nice table, staring at my very not nice reality. 2 kids, 1 check. No money. I had maybe $20 left on my card. My overdraft was almost maxed. I'd blown my last spare cash on making sure my kids looked like they belonged in this place. New clothes from Target's sale rack, nothing fancy, just clean and coordinated. "Mom," Mia whispered, "are we in trouble?" Something inside me didn't explode. It froze. My family thought my financial stress was funny. They thought humiliating me in front of my kids was entertainment. They thought I would swallow it because that's just family. They were wrong. I smiled at the waiter. "Could I have 1 more minute?" I asked. "And could you please ask your manager to come over?" The manager was a woman in her 40s with cool, sharp eyes and a name tag that said Violet Grant. I laid it all out, calmly, step by step. How my family had invited me to this big dinner, knew exactly how tight money was, had clearly eaten a small mountain of food while I was circling for parking, then bailed and left me to pay. Violet listened without interrupting. "I'm so sorry this happened to you." she said finally. Unfortunately, the woman who booked the table was very clear that you'd be paying this portion of the check. I get that, I said. But as you can see, I have 2 kids here, and we weren't part of that feast. I didn't order any of this. I can't pay for it. Is there anything we can do? She looked at Mia and Owen, at their too careful posture, at Owen gripping his kids' menu so hard it was starting to tear. Her face softened. "Give me a few minutes," she said. "We'll figure something out." While she was gone, I made 3 calls. Not to my family, to my contacts. Amy, my friend who runs a small marketing agency. Liz, a reporter at a local news site. Regina, my cousin from my dad's side who's never liked my mom's side and runs a pretty popular blog. By the time Violet came back, the numb panic had turned into something else. A plan. "We're closing out your check," Violet said. "You won't be responsible for this bill. What your family did is unacceptable, and we're not going to help them punish you for it. I would, however, appreciate if you let them know they're not welcome here again until they make this right." I thanked her about 10 times, collected my kids, walked back to the car, but I wasn't going home yet. I got Mia and Owen settled with a movie on my phone, came back inside, and asked Violet for a copy of the itemized bill. Every dish, every bottle of wine, the total they'd tried to dump on me. When I saw the full printout, my eyebrows nearly hit my hairline. Multiple appetizers, premium steaks, crab, cocktails, several bottles of wine, fancy desserts. Total for their group, a little over $700. They'd wanted me to cover half. By the time we finally got home, I wasn't shaking anymore. I was ready. My name is Nicole. I'm 34, divorced, and raising 2 kids. Mia is 8, Owen is 10. I work as a nurse and pick up extra shifts whenever I can. Every dollar has an assignment before it even hits my account. Rent, groceries, gas, Mia's community center dance class, Owen's City League soccer fees. It's not a tragic story, it's just tight. And my family knows all of this. They've watched me calculate whether I can afford a coffee. They've heard me say no to trips, to outings, to just split the bill, it's fine, because I literally can't. 2 years ago, I divorced my ex, Jason. Money got even tighter. I stayed in Chicago because my job and kids' school are here, not because it's cheap. You'd think that would make my family more careful, more gentle. You'd be wrong. When Jenna called 3 weeks before the dinner, she was practically vibrating through the phone. "Nick, we're doing a big family thing at Romano's," she said. "Everyone's going to be there. We haven't gotten together properly in forever. Mom's going crazy. She wants all of us." Instant knot in my stomach. "Jen, I can't afford Romano's right now," I said. "I've got rent, utilities, the kids' stuff. I'm already juggling." "Oh my God, relax," she cut in, using that tone she always uses when I talk about money. The one that translates to, "Here she goes again." "It's just a family dinner. We'll figure it out. Just bring the kids. Mom's treating everyone anyway." That should have been the first alarm. My mother is many things. Generous with expensive restaurants is not one of them. She still tracks grocery store sales like it's her religion and buys whatever has the biggest discount sticker. But I was lonely. I hadn't had a real, relaxed family evening in months. So I shoved my instincts into a box, locked it, and shoved it under the mental bed. Second alarm? The part where Jenna made a big deal out of everyone coming. My parents, my brothers, Michael and Dylan, with their wives and kids, Aunt Linda and Uncle Bob, Cousin Allison, who usually skips family gatherings because of work. Like an idiot, I got excited. I even spent the last of my tiny savings on nicer clothes for the kids. Nothing boutique, sale rack at Target, but clean, coordinated, new. I wanted them to show up looking like they belonged there, not like the poor relatives in hand-me-downs. The day of the dinner, I took extra time getting ready. Hair done, Makeup on, Mia in a pink dress with matching flats, Owen in a button-down and slacks. We looked like a normal family going to a normal dinner. My bank account strongly disagreed, and you know the rest of part 1. The ambush, the check, the phone call. Thanks for the treat, sis. That's the thing I couldn't get over later. Not just the money, although $360 might as well have been $3,000 that night. It's that they looked at my life, the extra shifts, the budgeting, the kids, and said, let's make a joke out of that. We got home. The kids went to their room. My hands went straight to my laptop. I wrote everything down, every detail. How they'd invited me, the parking nightmare, the timing, the table, the way they'd walked out in a group smirking, the waiter, the bill, Jenna's little performance on the phone. I attached photos. The check. Screenshots of Jenna's messages inviting me with the date and time. A picture of Mia and Owen all dressed up before we left. Then I titled the post, My Family's Prank. How they tried to stick me with a $360 restaurant bill. First, I posted it on my own Facebook page. Amy, my marketing friend, shared it in a couple of large neighborhood groups her agency manages. Liz sent it to her editor as a possible human interest story about financial abuse inside families. Regina posted it on her blog with a headline along the lines of, Chicago family's cruel prank backfires in the worst way. And I still didn't stop. I wrote a clear, unemotional summary of events and emailed it, with the check and screenshots attached to my relatives' employers. Mike works in corporate at an insurance company that loves to preach about family values in their ads. Dylan works at the district office for the public school system. Jenna works in a call center for a regional bank. I didn't embellish. I didn't call anyone names. I just described what happened and attached proof. Then I waited. The first response came from Regina. Nick, this thing is blowing up, she said when she called about 6 hours later. It's already been shared over 300 times, and people are furious at your family. You've got a lot of strangers on your side. The second response came from Jenna. What did you do? She screamed into the phone. No greeting. Just straight to maximum volume. My manager just dragged me into her office. Customers are calling the bank and asking why we employ someone who treats her own sister like that. I told the truth, I said. Is there anything in that post that isn't accurate? You're ruining our reputation over a stupid joke. No, I said. You ruined your own reputation. I just turned the lights on. She hung up. The next 3 days, my phone was a war zone. Mom called, sobbing, begging me to delete everything. Dad called, furious, talking about family loyalty and washing our dirty laundry in public. Mike told me his boss had made a comment about how personal conduct can affect how clients see our company. But the most surprising call was from Aunt Linda. Nick, sweetheart, she said, sounding wrecked. I had no idea Jenna planned any of this. I thought it was just a regular family dinner. Then she told us we had to leave right away because the bill was taken care of. I didn't know she meant you. You all walked past me, I said. You saw me at the table with the kids, and you still left. I know, she said, and I am so ashamed. Jenna said it was some kind of surprise for you, that you'd understand later. She told us you knew. Turns out Jenna had customized the story for each audience. To my parents, she'd said I offered to pay the check as my contribution to the celebration. To my brothers, she'd said I wanted everyone to leave so I could have some time alone with the kids at the restaurant. To Aunt Linda and Uncle Bob, she'd claimed it was my idea to prove I could handle adult responsibilities. Cute. Meanwhile, online, the story was outrunning all of us. A couple of local TV stations picked it up as a segment about toxic family dynamics and financial abuse. A morning radio host called it the meanest family prank of the year. Romanos posted a statement on their social media saying they'd closed my check because what happened violated their values as a family restaurant. That's when things moved from viral drama to actual consequences. Amy's contacts shared the story in business circles. It sparked discussions about how employees treat their families and what that says about their ethics. A few small business owners publicly commented that they'd be horrified if their staff pulled something like that. The second day after my post, I got a call from a woman named Margaret Taylor. "Nicole, this is Margaret from Coffee and the City on Chicago 24, she said. "We read your story and would love to have you on the show to talk about financial pressure on single parents and setting boundaries with family. Our viewers have been calling in with similar situations." I wanted to say no. The idea of talking about my life on TV to a city full of strangers sounded like a nightmare. Mia changed my mind. "Mom, maybe if people hear you, other moms won't feel so alone," she said. 8 years old, somehow already better at perspective than half my relatives. So I agreed. The interview was scheduled for the following Thursday. I took an unpaid day off. Couldn't really afford it, but there wasn't another option. All week, I prepared. Amy helped me rehearse answers. Liz coached me on how to sit, where to look, what to do with my hands so I didn't look like a malfunctioning robot. The morning of the show, my legs were jelly walking into the studio. Margaret turned out to be warm and calm, the kind of person who makes you feel like you're at a coffee shop, not under studio lights. "Just talk like you're telling a friend," she said. The interview lasted about 12 minutes. 12 minutes that shifted everything. She asked thoughtful questions about money stress, about being a single parent, about what it feels like when the people who should protect you decide you're the punchline. Then she asked what I'd learned. I realized you can love your family and still refuse to swallow disrespect from them, I said. My kids watch what I do. I want them to see that you don't pretend everything is fine when someone hurts you just because they share your DNA. The phone lines at the studio lit up. Margaret told me later they got over 200 calls and messages. My phone lit up too, just in a very different tone. Distant relatives who hadn't contacted me in years suddenly remembered my number. And they were furious. My dad's cousin, Aunt Gail, called me full name serious. "Nicole Harper," she said, like I was 11 and had broken her vase. "What do you think you're doing? Shaming your family in front of the whole country? Your grandmother would be horrified." They tried to leave me with a $360 bill I couldn't pay, I said. They humiliated me in front of my kids for fun. What exactly should I have done differently? "Family issues are handled in the family," she snapped. "You don't go on television every time your feelings get hurt. Now everyone is talking about us, and none of it is flattering." Variations of that conversation replayed several times with different relatives. The family split into camps. One half thought Jenna and the others had crossed a line you can't uncross. The other half thought my going public was worse than what they did. Regina called again at one point. "Just a heads up," she said. "Some of them are trying to coordinate a 'she made it all up' campaign. Letters to editors, angry comments, the works." "Let them," I said. "I've got every receipt." Meanwhile, messages from strangers poured in. A single mom from Portland wrote, "Your story gave me the backbone to tell my sister I can't drop $2,500 on her destination wedding just to be a bridesmaid. That money is my kids' food and rent. Thank you." A divorced dad from Houston messaged, "My ex's family constantly invites me to expensive events and then acts like I'm the bad guy for saying no. Hearing your story helped me realize I'm allowed to set limits and still be a good father." By the end of the week, the fallout had reached my relatives' workplaces. Jenna got moved to a back office role. Technically, not fired. Practically, career dead. Mike got quietly passed over for a promotion he'd been chasing for 2 years. Dylan's principal pulled him in for a conversation after parents emailed about the story. A month later, Violet from Romano's called. "Nicole, your family came back in," she said. "They paid the original bill and left an envelope for you." Inside, $700 in cash and a note from my mother with one word. "Sorry." No long explanation, no apology tour, just money and a single word. Around the same time, my dad made his move. In his own sideways way, through a friend of a friend, he helped get me an interview at a private clinic looking for a senior nurse. The pay was about 1.5 times what I'd been making. He sent the contact info through Mike. He did not call me himself. 3 months later, Jenna did get fired. She called me in the middle of the night. I could hear the slur in her voice. "Are you happy now?" she asked. "I lost my job. Because of your little tantrum." "Because of your prank," I corrected, and hung up. Life slowly resettled. I still see my brothers sometimes. Kids' birthday parties, school events. We do the awkward small talk thing. Weather, work, nothing deeper. Mike occasionally sends money for the kids, with vague notes in the transfers. Dylan runs an after-school program and let Mia join his group. All communication is through her, not between us. My mom calls maybe once a month. "How are the kids?" "They're okay." "Maybe you can come over for Christmas?" "We already have plans." "I see." The internet did what it always does. Moved on. Chicago is big. Everyone's got their own disaster. For a couple of weeks, strangers would stop me once in a while. "Hey, are you that woman from the restaurant story?" I'd nod, say yeah, and keep walking. About 6 months later, I ran into Jenna at the grocery store. She'd lost weight and looked older in that tired way you can't fix with makeup. Her cart was filled with the cheapest store brands. "Hey," she muttered. "Hey." "I'm working at a call center now," she said. "For pennies." "I'm sorry," I said, and meant it, in a detached way. I started to turn my cart away when she called after me, "You destroyed this family!" I didn't turn back. The other day, Mia asked, "Mom, why don't we go to Grandma's house anymore?" "Because Grandma made a really bad choice," I said. "She did technically apologize, but words don't fix everything when you've broken trust." Mia thought about that, then nodded. "I get it," she said. "There is no Harper family anymore. There are just people with the same last name drifting around Chicago, sometimes crossing paths, pretending not to see each other. Do I ever feel a twinge of regret? Sure. When I see big families at the park, laughing, passing around snacks, taking group photos. When I see grandparents sincerely enjoying their grandkids. Then I remember that table at Romano's, my kids' scared eyes, that check for $360 that I had no way to pay, and I don't regret a thing. Some bridges, you don't just set on fire. You blow them up so there isn't even a place to start rebuilding. Did I go overboard? Or did I just finally draw a line nobody expected me to draw? Tell me what you think in the comments. And if you like stories about boundaries, consequences, and a little bit of icy justice, you can always subscribe and turn on notifications for more.